Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Today's video is sponsored by DistroKid. For those unfamiliar, DistroKid is a service that musicians use to get their music into Spotify and Apple Music, iTunes, all the online stores and streaming services. It's personally my favorite platform that does this for a few reasons, but one being they don't take any commission. So you as the artist just pay one annual fee and that's it. They don't take a piece of your streaming income, your sales income, that all goes to you. So yeah, if you're an artist and you're looking to put out some music, follow the link in the description of this video. You'll get a discount on your first year's fee, plus you'll support Chad's Home all at once, so it's a win-win. Thanks so much again for tuning in, and without further ado, here's my interview with Retirement Party. Enjoy. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Chad's Home. Hope you're all doing well out there. I'm doing good, just hanging in my apartment, drinking some Topo Chico. Shout out to my friends. And today is better than most because I'm joined by a band who just put out their phenomenal sophomore album. It's called Runaway Dog, and they're calling in all the way from Chicago and Mexico City. And that band is Retirement Party. Thank you guys so much for being here.
Thanks for having us, Chad.
Of course. What's up? Yeah, just again, a massive congratulations on the release. It's a little over a month now. You've been featured in Pitchfork and Stereo Gum, Consequence of Sound, all very well deserved. Yeah, just congratulations, first of all.
Thank you.
And yeah, I was mentioning this before, but I think it feels just like a perfect progression from your 2018 debut, Somewhat Literate. You still have that like really raw emotional sound, but the songwriting feels more dynamic. There's richer and just fuller tones. The percussion is massive, and it just feels like a really great step forward without losing kind of the nuts and bolts of what your group is. And so was that kind of the goal when you sat down to start making it? Did you have that in mind?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of making this record, since we've gotten a lot better at playing with each other. It's not just like, so we decided to take the writing from a more technical approach with a lot of things. Just focused a lot more on dynamics and just being like super intentional with like everything we are doing and how it benefited or fit in the song. So that was I think the big focus for us, and where we pushed ourselves forward as a band on this record.
Got it. And were you all three working together writing it, or was it one of you separate? Like, how did you write? Were you in Mexico City the whole time?
Yeah. So, well, go ahead, Eddie. Yeah.
I mean, that's the answer to that question was yes.
Yeah. So, like, the way that we write songs is that I tend to like kind of come up with my underlying chords and the lyrics and melody that I want to sing above it, at least for like up through like a chorus or something. And then I bring it kind of to the group and like we kind of feel it out as a band. This last record, James and I would like, I would show songs first to him and we would kind of work out the drums and like through the demoing process and stuff, and like through our just progress we were making on it, we would send it to Eddie and he would then like record bass and I don't know. It doesn't feel like we played a lot of these songs as a full band in the same room many times before we recorded,
Yeah, but we did pretty extensive demoing, I think, for a lot of them. Which we didn't do as much on the first record, for sure.
Got it.
So that was definitely different. And just, I think the way that we started them initially with the two of us, whereas the last record was mainly lead guitar. Yeah, it was mainly just Avery's songs. Like they all started with just acoustic and vocals, like for the first like round of demos for the last record, which was cool in its way. But I think this one is much more us working together as a band, and that shows in that we're kind of writing different types of songs and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
It's just
like I wrote like a lot of the lead guitar stuff, like even like in the studio. I feel like we demoed out a lot with bass, the drums, and guitar, and then kind of like did the collaborative process with lead guitar, and like that was super sick. But yeah, like James or Avery was saying, like I feel like we didn't play some of those songs like as a full band like until the record was like done, which was like pretty funny. But
Yeah. Wow.
And I mean, it felt really good when we were playing these songs. Like, that's why it's kind of a big bummer that all of our tours have been canceled
I know.
for the foreseeable future, because like we got to play, we did play like 4 new songs a night on the Chris Farron tour, which was awesome. But it was like, that's like, you know, it was a tease getting to do that. And now it's like, oh, now that they're out, you know, we don't get to.
Well, yeah, there was
Right.
one other that we played. We played Old Age a few times in the winter, like I guess when in December or something like that, early year. And then the other half of the record, the other 5 songs, right, 5 or 6 songs, we haven't ever played live yet. We played them together, but like we still haven't played a lot of these songs live.
Damn, that's crazy.
It sucks. It would be so much fun.
Yeah. Do you play Runaway Dog live?
What's that?
Yeah, we've been playing
Runaway Dog. Nice. Yeah, it sounds like you would need to bring in like 10 more drums or something.
Yeah. I have a vision in my mind if everybody hits a drum.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
You know,
that'd
that
really
like
cool.
you know, you got the floor tom, that like the singer like
right.
far behind them, and they're like da-da-da. That's me next tour.
I love it.
I'm gonna put water on it or something.
Yes,
so that, like, lights underneath. Sorry.
That's amazing. So when did you actually write these songs? Because I feel like you guys, I mean, just looking at your Instagram, it's just endless touring and shows. So like, were you writing on the road, or did you just do it like in breaks, but in chunks and pieces, or like when did it all take place?
Yeah, most of this record like was written in the spring, like the winter and spring of 2019.
Last year.
Yeah.
Last year. Was it last year? Yeah, I guess some of them were written a little bit before that. No, because yeah, it was totally last year. Yes. So I don't know. I mean, I was home. I was generally home for like a season, and I can't really write when on the road. At least I haven't yet. I don't really do much of that, but had enough time at home. It was kind of, yeah, we wrote those songs throughout like the winter and spring, and then, you know, you have enough and it's like, all right, like let's book studio time now, because these are the songs. And then we spent the next like couple months in between like just refining the ones we had and working demos more and doing more of that.
Got it.
Well, Eddie, you did a fair amount of the lead guitar on the road, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we had a little setup there. I would just sit in the back because there was only us 3 in the van. So I had like the back of the van, and like we had a little setup, and we had like it was like a 16-hour drive or something.
It was the West Texas drive.
Yeah.
Dang.
And then after that, that one was like probably the most productive, because it was like still hard as hell to write anything in it. I don't know, I'm not very good at it, but definitely wrote like a couple or 3 or 4 riffs that definitely ended up on the record in the end. So that was super sick. It's definitely the first time I did that.
Nice.
Most it was just like kind of on the spot, but yeah, it was super sick.
Nice. Did you have a favorite riff or a favorite part of the album that you contributed?
I really like the guitar stuff in like Fire Blanket. That song's pretty sick. And I kind of came up with that one on like in the van. I like the riffs in Afterthought are also pretty sick, and obviously like Runaway Dog. I think that like for sure kind of encapsulates a lot of like what I really like to play like in guitar and stuff, and a lot of like how the record kind of starts, or the like the vibe of the lead guitar on the record. I think starts off pretty good.
Nice. Yeah. Do you guys have a favorite song on the album, or one that you're most proud of?
Mine is probably Afterthought. I love that song. I love the lyrics. I love like the way the song flows. I think that as a band, like that one showcases especially like what we worked extra hard on and paid most attention to when writing and recording these. So it's like that one's probably my favorite, but yeah.
I think Afterthought is really cool. I think that to me, Ebb is probably the most fun, I think. You know, because it's just like, it's pretty like kind of, it feels pretty straightforward, but I think there is like some nuance to it, which I think is like part of the cool thing we did with this record, is songs that are still catchy and just sound like good songs, but that are a little more nuanced.
Yeah.
and it's got that bass drop thing before the last chorus. So
That's super
wacky
cool.
fun.
Yeah, love that. Do you
No,
have one?
Yeah, I like Runaway Dog a lot. I think that one is one of the most different ones. Like, there's not really a lot of like lyrics and stuff. And it was like pretty different. And when we started jamming that one out, like even like last or a year and a half ago or whatever it was, it was just like, yeah, like this one, like I always knew that one was gonna be super sick, and it ended up being like probably better than what I thought it would be. So
Yeah,
definitely stays my favorite for sure.
that's cool. Yeah, I feel like that one would be so epic live. I can't wait to see it. Just the build up, you know.
It's so fun. That's probably the most fun to play live.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I could
love
imagine.
that one.
That's
We
awesome.
did luckily get to play that one every night.
Yeah,
I think that's a cool one because it doesn't. It's really good, and I think but I think that one is a pretty like significant departure from a lot of what we normally like our normal sound.
Right.
But that one was really cool to play live and have people really enjoy. Like you could tell that people liked it because it's a good ass
Yeah,
song.
like a lot of people,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
we kept saying, you know, we're playing new songs and all this, and people like, what was that one? You know, the da na 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 na.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, I got.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Oh, it's great.
right. That's awesome. And then I really like the lyrics in Runaway Dog, and I know you've talked about it before, just kind of this like relationship with music and kind of falling in and out of love and that was that kind of your approach to the album? Or did you have that in mind when you first sat down to start writing, or did the lyrics just kind of naturally come out?
The lyrics definitely naturally came out. I normally like don't sit down and say I'm going to write a record. It's kind of like I write songs and then I know when like we have a record or when I have like, you know, it's just, and so it's kind of cool because like a lot of times like the lyrics on a record are kind of like a timestamp just in my life and like what's like Somewhat Literate was just a lot about mental health and struggling with depression and things like that. And it kind of, you know, not every song was exactly explicitly that, but that was just like an intertwining theme. And so with this one, you know, just a big part of it was, all right, you know, I did write this during a time when the band had been touring a lot more. And like, you know, this pursuing the band wasn't a new cool thing anymore. It was like, you know, there's a lot more to this. And like also getting a degree in music business, like while this was all happening, it was like the relationship between creating art and then like basically selling and managing it. You know, I was having like, not necessarily back and forth. It's just like, that's just a lot of what I was experiencing and working through. So it's like kind of a lot of those themes show up on the record.
Yeah. Was there ever a time where you guys almost just called it quits, like with the band?
No, I think we go through like times where we don't really do anything. Yeah. But like, I don't know. We all love this band and we like, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, the band itself has always been like, honestly, since it started, the band has been like a driving force. Really, like we hit the ground running, and we've like, I shouldn't say that we've never stopped because we have had times when we've like just not done a lot, but like we've from the very start we were touring a lot, and like we recorded our first EP like
a month after our first band practice. So
right.
And our third show was our first show of our first tour, you know, and like. We've just always done stuff like that, and it's always just been like, I think that the theme of like the way we do things as this band has just been like, yeah, let's go and do it, you know, like, and like, let's go and do the next thing.
Luckily, it still feels like that. And it doesn't feel like, you know, I want to like back off or anything. It's just like, I'm like, oh, cool. Well, I guess I get a year off from touring that I didn't want.
Right.
Yeah, right now it's like we're not doing anything.
Like, come back to me in 5 years. Like,
right.
A year off from touring then.
I know.
Yeah, really, it makes no sense to quit right now, so definitely won't.
Good, yeah. And then who did the artwork, by the way? The artwork's awesome.
Yeah, my friend Jack Campbell, who I met in college, is just a collage artist and based out of Portland. And I've always liked his stuff a lot. And yeah, so we commissioned him to create the artwork for this, and like gave him the record. And it was like a really cool experience, like as opposed to Somewhat Literate. Like I saw this photograph that my friend like posted, and I was like, this feels like it should be the artwork. This one was like commissioned work. Jack listened to the album and like asked us a lot of questions about it. Like we focused a lot more on the imagery of like what we wanted, and like I think it came out really well, and like the artwork absolutely like reflects and fits with our music.
Definitely. Yeah, I love it. I love that you guys did merch with it too, like socks and stuff.
Yeah.
Great call.
Thank you.
And you put the record out with Counterintuitive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I just talked to Jake on here. He's an awesome person. How did you get hooked up with him?
Well, yeah, so we met. When did we meet Jake?
We met Jake, I think, on our first tour.
Yeah, I think we met him at South by. I think he was there that year. We met a bunch of people at South by our first year as a band.
That was like the third show ever was in Austin for that. Like, and we only played, we only had 2 scheduled shows at South by, and we ended up playing 3.
And the third one was where we met everybody.
Third one was where we met like Jake there, because I think he was there with, was he there with Mom Jeans or Prince Daddy?
One of them, but they were both there. The whole squad was there. Everybody that,
because that's also where we met Mom Jeans, I think.
Yeah, and Kissy and all those people. Well, so we did that, and then we went on another tour that summer where we played 2 shows with Prince Daddy. And the first show was right when their drummer Alex had left the band, and Jake was filling in for them for this little run of shows they were doing. It was the Runaway Dog Tour. Or the Runaway Brothers. Yeah, Runaway Brother and Lumi.
Yep.
Anyways, Jake ended up playing drums with P Daddy on that tour, and then because Jake was like tour managing them, right?
Yeah.
And he, I think, wanted to be tour managing them, didn't really want to be playing drums for them. So we happened to be playing 2 shows with them on that tour on Long Island and then in Illinois.
And he was also with Toy Cars. We did a tour with Toy Cars, and he was there.
Oh,
Well, finish his story. First.
Okay. Well, at the second one of those shows we played with P Daddy, they asked me to play drums with them on their fall tour. So I went and did that. Jake was on that tour. We got really close. Yeah. And then
before that, we did spend a couple of days on our second tour ever. It was like a 3-week like East Coast Midwest-ish tour, just like the eastern part of the United States, and we did 4 or 5 days with Toy Cars. They're based out of New Jersey, and Jake at the time he tour managed that. He booked one of our shows of that, and so that's like
parents' house.
Yeah, that's where we I think officially cool. like became like chillers with Jake.
Was that same tour, right? Wasn't that like days before that Long Island show?
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm getting mixed up.
It was the same tour, and then we played that show with Prince Daddy, and then he left. And then we saw him again in Chicago. You just wanted to tell the story because you wanted to say you played drums for P Daddy.
I played that is a very important, critical.
Always.
James's head is in that.
No, I play on like a couple.
James's head is in this iconic Prince Daddy poster.
That's amazing.
Right there.
Hey.
Right there. So
that's terrific.
That's his claim to fame. That's our claim to fame.
See that right there?
That's awesome. I love your guys' like the hoodie war thing that you posted.
Oh, thanks. Thank you. A lot of people would disagree. They're like, a lot of them didn't even buy into the joke. They're like,
right.
No, P Daddy hoodie. I'm like, okay, all right.
Right, exactly. And then, were you guys part of that? Like, Jake told me a story about his South by trip that had like 10 bands in one Airbnb or something.
Yeah, that was the next year. Yeah.
That was when our van died. Right when we got to Austin, we drove all the way to Austin, and our van died. But we were staying with all our friends.
We were staying with 40 other people, and like 6 vans between like all of these 40 people.
We just hitched rides with people the whole time.
That's so nuts. Jeez, that had to be good memories though. Good times.
It was. I'm glad we did it. It was definitely.
It was a mix.
It was fun though. It was like one of those experiences that I'm very glad that I've had.
Right. That's great.
There.
Oh, you weren't there?
Yeah, that was before Eddie was. Well, Eddie been on a tour before that, I think.
Yeah.
But he hadn't fully joined yet.
Got it. Yeah. South by always looked so nuts. So I got to make it out there one of these years. Have you been, Eddie? Did you go with the band the next year? Or?
No, I didn't.
I don't think Eddie's done a South by.
I did a South by without the band, but that was like a much different thing. But
Got it.
I just went as an attendee. No, nice. I haven't done it.
Nice. Yeah.
And we didn't do this year, obviously. There's no way.
Yeah, South by for us those were normally like shorter tours because I was still in school, and luckily like spring break lined up was the week of South by, so like I would skip another week of school and we'd turn it into a tour.
Right.
But like those were shorter ones, so Eddie didn't play on all of those.
Only do the important ones, the important big ones.
The important big ones,
Love it. So speaking of your van breaking down, because that's a theme in the Runaway Dog music video, was that inspired by, or how did you guys like come up with that video idea?
I guess
our director actually came to us kind of with the idea. Yeah. I mean, our van, like, I feel like it's definitely something any band can relate to, and that's why we were like into it. We're like, yeah, sure. I mean, like, yeah, this is. I don't know, but yeah, he came up with the idea, and like it was kind of cool. We got hooked up with Dan Watt. He was the director before anything, and like before we even had like an idea of what we were necessarily doing, like we looked for settings first. Like we looked at Airbnbs that we could rent to film like what we were going to do, and kind of the idea came after we found this cool like desert place near a dry lake bed. That was the whole thing.
It was like a shack way out in the desert.
That's cool.
It was real cool. It was like down a dirt road.
But so the idea, it was cool. The idea came kind of after we found that, and we're like, at this point we were really into like we already had the album artwork, or maybe no, we didn't. We didn't have it yet.
Yeah, when we were.
But we had been like working on it, and we kind of liked the desert theming, and like that was, that played a part in that too.
Yeah, we kind of told him we wanted something in the desert, and he kind of ran with it. And it was like sick.
Yeah, it was super cool. And the compensation video, I won't lie to you, gave me a little anxiety. I was a little worried that you guys were gonna fall off the. Did it all go smoothly though? Was that a one shot?
Yeah, it was a one shot thing.
Nice.
It was our second take, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, we did twice or.
We did twice, but yeah. So basically, like how that one came to be, we spent, what was it, 3 days in the desert? And was it day 3 or I don't remember.
2 or 3.
Two nights, I think. But we got to the dry lake bed. It was the last thing that we needed. We needed to film like the night scene, so the sun setting, and we got there kind of way early. I think we had to check out of our, like that's it, of the Airbnb. So we went there and we were just kind of messing around, and I was like Eddie got to drive the van. Eddie doesn't drive, and so Eddie got in the van and was driving it around, and it was just like
it was good.
And at one point I want to get on top of the van, like James, drive me around. And so we did that, and then we decided Eddie and James would climb out of the window and climb on top. And yeah, so that's one fun. Was just kind of a fun happenstance.
Yeah, I love that. So real quickly, I wanted to touch on the origins, because I know you're from Michigan, right, Avery? And then are you from Chicago?
No, I grew up in Seattle.
Seattle, okay.
I moved here. I also went to we all went to the same college.
Got it. Is that and that's where you guys met?
No,
we did not meet there.
None of us knew. Like,
none of us ever met. I don't think any of us like really like particularly made a lot of friends at that school. Honestly, we all like
kind of just friends
through music.
Yeah, through like the Chicago music scene, which is just like
nice. Mm-hmm. Yeah, is there a pretty big like DIY scene in Chicago?
There's so many different ones. Like it's so big, and there's just so many bands. Like that's kind of the crazy thing, is there's so much music being played here that there's like a bunch of different little, niche scenes and stuff. Like, there's a lot of unity as well, but like there's a ton of music here. You can pretty easily find your place.
Something that we have here that is really nice. I mean, honestly, just because it's a big enough city to support this, is that we have like small 100-cap rooms and stuff that are like proper venues that you can go show at if you're a small band and stuff, which is like, that's really cool because those are booked by, companies that book bigger rooms, and that's the easy way to get into like playing in venues, and like it's a pretty easy avenue.
Yeah, we didn't play a lot of DIY shows. We've only played a couple in Chicago, and just because like it's nice. We have a lot of smaller venues that are easy to book in.
Yeah. Whereas like the first couple years of touring on the road, we almost exclusively played DIY shows.
Got it. Yeah. Is there do you have a favorite venue in Chicago to play?
Probably Subterranean.
Yeah, Sub T. They have like downstairs Sub T, which is 100-cap room, and then like the upstairs is, I believe, like 400. But it's just like we played our first show at downstairs Sub T. Our old guitarist Nick like ran sound there for a long time, and it was just that was definitely like our starting place, was playing in that room. And we were about to upgrade, and like we played upstairs a couple times, but on this tour we were going to do our record release show there, and so but that's like cool. That venue holds, and the people that work there hold a special place in our hearts.
Nice, very nice. Is there so did you grow up in Mexico City, Eddie?
No, I kind of grew up all over the place, and then went to college like in the States, in Chicago, and I lived there for like 5 years, and then I knew James through just like playing in bands and stuff, and not because we went to the same college or anything, or because we're like the same age. But and then Nick, the old guitar player, I knew him a lot through playing in bands as well, and then got hooked up like that with all of them. And then I just kind of kept knowing them until like they let me be in the band. So that was it. Nice. I mean, I really didn't bring much to the table. I couldn't drive. I didn't have my own gear. I didn't really have a lot to, but I knew the songs and I learned them in like 4 days. So that was like enough, I guess.
That was kicking in.
I didn't get fired. There were many times I hit Avery in the head one time. The bass.
Yeah, it's on video too.
Yeah, it's on video. Fireball. Definitely other things for sure. But yeah,
where's that video?
I think it's on your Twitter in a GIF, right?
Yeah, it was at JJ's Bar and Grill, which is a basement venue in the suburbs of Milwaukee. And JJ films like every show there. It's a really, really
it's probably
nice.
On YouTube.
Yeah, but he made a GIF of like during the set when Eddie hit me in the head with his headstock. And it's funny. But yeah, I think it's on YouTube too.
And you're still here. That's great.
Yeah, exactly.
I had a bad headache after that. I was like, shit. That was a rough day for me, I think, in general.
Yeah, that was the last day.
Probably like the second to last day of tour, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last day of tour, we didn't talk again until like we had to record the record, I
think. But you fought through it. The love is still there.
I didn't leave. That was the thing.
I know this is a really hard question to answer, but you guys have played so many shows and toured everywhere. Is there a particular city that you like to play the best outside of Chicago?
Boston is usually really fun. Did we just say the same thing at the
same
time?
You did.
Thing.
Nice.
Yeah, Boston I think is a fan favorite of ours.
Boston is litty.
There's a lot. Florida has always shown us a lot of love. Yeah. Florida goes crazy, especially like Orlando.
Yeah.
Usually.
Played some decent shows in Orlando.
I mean, Florida is weird, but we've had a few really good experiences in Florida for sure.
Yeah.
Texas
a lot.
Always been.
Texas, I hear, is cool. Yeah, nice. No love for LA, huh?
Hey,
LA's been good to us a few times.
LA's been good to us, honestly. Cannot lie. I enjoy LA too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know how our crowds are, though. It's all good. So yeah, I mean, the publications I mentioned earlier, you're featured in all these massive publications. You're, as you've mentioned, you've toured around the country multiple times. You were on Audio Tree Live. You played South by and a ton of other festivals. Do each of you have like one favorite moment or one like, maybe it's the Prince Daddy poster for you, James, but or any like highlight of the band, or another tough question, I know, but
it is tough. honestly, for me, like maybe I would have to think a little bit more, but just this last tour as a whole, this Chris Farron one, was kind of just very proving to me, just with like what our band could do, how good we could sound, like, you know, sound, and like it was just a really positive experience, like just as a whole. Like there's always ups and downs on tour, but like as a whole, that tour, I think, like just boosted my confidence a lot and like proved to me that like I love doing this. I love playing shows and, you know, playing music with these guys. And I don't know. So that was like a special affirming tour for me.
Yeah.
I guess for me, I would honestly, it's a very hard question. I do kind of feel a similar way about the tour we did with Prince Daddy and the Obsessives. Pictures of Vernon. That was like, that to me felt very much like a big group of people all playing really good music, and like we all got along really well. And like, it was that thing where like, we all, like, the Obsessives would play and they would play really, really well, and it'd be dope. And I'd watch them play, and then it would be like, I want to play twice as good. And then I could tell that P Daddy was thinking the same thing. And it was like, it was that kind of thing. And like really being a part of that was like so cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, like, I mean, I think it comes down to touring in general is like often the coolest thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, that was the first tour I played guitar on. So that was like definitely like a big thing. Like, well, I really like that. This was really fun. I don't know. I just love playing guitar way more. But I don't know. I think also like playing, we did a tour with Mom Jeans, and even if we were the opening band, but we played at Union Transfer.
That was a cool show.
That was just super sick. Like we went out there and there was like 1,000 like people, and
wow.
I don't know, hearing 1,000 people just yell, just like, I don't know, they didn't give a shit, like it was us, you know what I mean? But like either way, we just kind of walked up there, and then 1,000 people yell, you're like, oh man, like this is insane.
Oh, whoa.
And like, and like the whole kind of like vibe around it was just different than, because by that point we only really did like DIY shows, so it was just like, whoa, like this is crazy. Like I could do this. I could play soccer in the parking lot of some venue, like until we have to play.
Right.
So that was like pretty sick.
That's rad. That's rad.
Yeah, stuff like that.
That's cool. Yeah. I mean, yeah, gosh, you guys must be missing the road so much, it sounds like. But I'm Glad It's You dates are being rescheduled, or your headlining tour, right?
I mean, as of right now, it's just we have no idea when things are going to be coming back and what it's going to really look like. So we kind of, I mean, we would love to like play shows with them at some point, but you know, it might not be right when we come back. We just want to be on the road, whatever opportunities present themselves or whatever works out. Like, you know, we'll be out there. Hopefully we'll get to play with them again though. Was really looking forward to those shows. They put out a fantastic record. Yeah.
Great.
I think at some point, some version of that tour will probably happen, but it might not be, it likely will not be our first thing back.
Got it. Yeah, it's probably so tough. I feel like everybody's trying to work on that and just like trying to get dates together, and like so many different tours are probably coming together right now. It's probably like 2021 is what people are thinking, like spring, summer.
Before then.
Yeah.
Well, depending on what happens, like, I don't know, we just reopen restaurants here and it's horrible and nobody's wearing masks, and like
same in LA
again, you know, like it might be, you know, late spring even, like depending on what happens.
I know.
We'll see.
Hopefully it's not. I think like our best bet maybe is like February, maybe is like the best possible.
Yeah.
I don't even know about that though.
Right. I hear you. Yeah. We'll stand by. A couple more things I just wanted to touch on. One thing I think is really cool, I feel like the band has been pretty vocal in support of things like the Black Lives Matter movement and the Flint water crisis. And I know you did something with Yellowhammer. Do you think it's just an important thing to use your platform to kind of speak up and in support of?
I think it definitely is. It's important to use your platform and use it in a very respectful way. you know, not virtue signaling and like making sure you're not speaking above voices that maybe need to be heard. But yeah, I think it's
Right.
it's important to you know, show your values to people, and yeah, use your platform you know, for good in that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I think even the reality is that we the shows that we play and the people that we play to definitely leans towards a more white demographic, and so, you know, it's not really like about I think wanting to like educate or anything like that, but you know, some people definitely don't have as much like or they don't come in to close contact with a lot of this stuff, especially the things that have been happening right now in the States, you know, like with police brutality and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And like it goes both ways. Some people don't like that, like at all, you know, that like we say stuff or anything like that. But we just kind of have to, like, you know, put our best foot forward, I guess. And you know, I don't think we're definitely not the best band to like about it, but we're just trying to kind of do like our thing about that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
Little thing that we can.
Yeah, I think something I've been thinking about lately, both in regards to, you know, my own life and the band in general and everything, is like trying to approach that kind of thing as making it like part of what we normally do, rather than making it like a special, like, oh, like something happened, so we're going to donate some, you know, the proceeds from this to some kind of organization. Like, no, we should do that as a regular thing, and like,
Right.
we don't need to talk about it like it's just like a thing that should be a normal part of what we do, you know.
Right.
And figuring out how to just make that part of our normal lives.
That's really cool.
Some sort of work like that.
Definitely. Yeah. Implementing that kind of real change instead of just, like you said, kind of virtue calling and signaling. That's cool. I really respect that. I just saw that on your Instagram, so I wanted to touch on it real quick. And then the last thing, if you had advice for any like up and coming band or advice for your younger selves, what would you tell people watching this, or, you know, in that spot?
I would I mean, kind of the best advice I can give is just to work hard and surround yourself with, you know, good people who have, you know, the same values and visions as you. But yeah, most importantly, like, just keep pushing hard, writing music that you like to hear, that you want to hear, you know, figuring out how to get it out into the world, whether even if it's just releasing it yourself, like getting it out there. And then like, once it's obviously safe, like a huge thing is to tour, I think. You are able to tour. That's, I think, one of the best ways is as like, especially like an indie or punk band. That's like, it was so important for us to get out there. And that's, you know, that's what we did from the start, was just like be on the road. So I think that like that was really big in like kind of our progression and as a band. So it's like, hitting the road. If you can absolutely do that, like, I encourage you to hit up, you know, the Facebook groups or your friends in each city and figure out how to get shows there.
Yeah. Great advice.
Don't do it right now though.
Not right now. Not right now.
Right. That's great advice. Anything else you guys wanted to add?
I would say I think it's very important to work smart in addition to working hard. You have to make sure, like, it's very easy, I think, to, especially in music and just in general, to like do a lot of hard work in a way that isn't really effective. And you have to make sure that you're not doing that, and make sure that you're, you know, critiquing what you're doing to make sure that you're actually, that your work is really as effective as it can be. And whatever it is you're doing, you know, and make sure that like, I don't know, be efficient in addition to a hard worker, and
right.
Be smart about your efforts. And also work really hard.
I don't know. I would say like two things. Like, one of them is for sure, like saying yes to things, you know, when when opportunities kind of like come up, you know, I think it's easy to doubt, and it's also like it's hard to like believe in yourself for like what you want to do. I'm not saying like say yes to like dumb shit, but like definitely things that seem like good opportunities, you know. I think saying yes and taking the risk is you'll probably gain more from that experience than, you know, than anything else. So I would say like that, you know, like regardless, like, oh, you only have like a few days to put something together or whatever, just like say yes, you know, and figure it out along the way. I think like those are the most valuable experiences I think that you can have.
Yeah.
And then like the second thing I would say is like, if you do go out on tour, definitely take a shower every single chance that you can. Like if you see one, even if you're taking a shower that day, do it, please. People usually treat you better and stuff when you don't smell it.
Chicken wants to say hello too.
Good call.
He's just
yes. Who's the cat?
Oh shit!
Is that your cat?
It's our cat. It's my girlfriend's cat.
Nice.
I'm really claim ownership over the cat.
I'm Uncle Avery.
Yeah.
Shout out. I love it. Well, yeah, I mean that was all great advice. I appreciate it. And thank you for saying yes to this. This is very good to meet you all and to chat and talk. Of course. Yeah. Yeah, of course. And hopefully you'll be in LA soon enough and we can meet in person and I could come out to the show. I can't wait. Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be great. And yeah, I'll add all your socials and everything in the description below. Just follow along Retirement Party to figure out when things reopen and new announcements and things.
We'll be here.
But, yeah. Is there anything else you guys wanted to mention or shout out or anything?
Keep listening to the record, please. That's dope.
Definitely.
Yeah,
listen
right
to the
now
record and go
Spotify.
share it with someone and tell them how much you like it and say, listen to this.
Yes. Do it. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much again and stay safe. And yeah, we'll talk soon.
Hell yeah. Thanks for having us, Chad.
Thanks.
Of course. Thank you guys.